Hello there and welcome back to Normal Guy Games. This time I'm actually going to be cracking into my box of Blackstone Fortress stuff, and it is time to paint and play. So the first thing I'm going to paint is something a little simple, and I'm going to show you how I painted up the Ur-Ghuls from Blackstone Fortress. So, and these are from the core box. This is not from any of the expansions, at least I think it's not. Anyway, let's have a look at it, see how it turns out. I've been sitting on Blackstone Fortress for quite a while, so it's time to change that. Obviously, started with a black primer, and this is, with the exception of two paints, mostly it's going to be Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. I am in love with this paint. I love it so much. It works so good. So I started with this light blue, and I am just dry brushing it across, well, more over brushing than dry brushing, but I'm over brushing this on top of the entire model. This is just to lay down that initial color and to kind of give me a map of how everything looks on these Ur-Ghuls. I really like these things. They look really nasty and disgusting and kind of cool. So that's kind of a thick coat, right? And now what I'm doing here is I'm doing a true dry brush with the white blue color. Now this white blue is a very it's a very cool color, and it is not as chalky as most whites would be. Even with dry brushing, it still shows up really well, and it's going to give you that same like ultra bright definition that you want for this kind of model. So on all of these raised areas, we are taking that white blue and we're just dancing across it. No big deal, no changes. And this actually, for me, the color may have been a little too bright, but we're going to take that down a little bit. And I'll show you how I do that later. So for now, this works out it ends up working out pretty well. The next thing I do, and this is it's not exactly a standard of the Ur-Ghuls, but I decided to put a little bit of red coloring on their arms and on their face. Now, the face, yes, everything I've seen on the Ur-Ghuls, they have a little bit of like red coloring on their face, but I wanted to throw it on the hands as well. And like I said, I don't know if this is standard for the Ur-Ghuls. I just thought it looked really cool. So I'm taking a dark red, and again, this is Pro Acryl. This is Monument Hobbies, and I'm just dry brushing that all over the ends of the arms and a little bit on the face. Now, this darker red, it's very potent, so I am making sure not to have a whole lot on the brush, but I do kind of want it to work sort of pseudo like an overbrush. Okay, and then the next thing I do is I take the bold red and I'm going over all of the tips of or we'll say the raised edges here for the hands and the very ends of the hands there, and just a little graze across the face as well. And all that does is just brighten up that color. Now, the next thing I'm doing here, and this is, I do have the washes from Monument Hobbies. I have the brown and the black and the flesh, but I am not one to waste. So I am trying to finish off this last pot of Agrax Earthshade before I switch 100% over to the Monument Hobbies stuff. Agrax is the age-old, you use this wash for everything. It's kind of like the Frank's Red Hot of washes. You use it for everything. It's great. Moving on from that wash, in this step, you can see here, this is how everything turns out. Now, you could leave it like this, and that would be perfectly fine because it's got enough definition. But as you can see on that left one, something a little bit different. So let me show you what I did here. On that left one, I decided to throw Apothecary White on top of it. And what this does is this kind of blends the scheme together and it pulls everything, all of those colors, all of those recesses. You still see the darker recesses, you still see the lightest colors, but in keeping in mind, I use this only on the bluish skin areas, okay? But as you can see from just me throwing it on there, it serves to blend those colors together, to smoothen out the edges, to make everything a more uniform scheme. And honestly, even though this was an experiment on my part, and I really thought that I was going to have to maybe even start over at first because of how much it saturated the model with color. But once it dries, it actually worked out really, really well. I'm very happy with the way it sort of blends those shadows and the highlights together, and it adds kind of like that mid-tone that you're looking for in a model like this. So if you just throw it on there, and as you can see there, I just kind of any that got on the face, I kind of brushed it off with my finger or whatnot. And once it dries, it looks really good. So this experiment, I'm going to call this experiment a success, and it worked really well for them because it's a very simple model. Now, once that's dry, of course, you do the base rim. You could throw some tufts on there or whatnot, but I'm going to skip the tufts on all the smaller guys, all the Trader Guardsmen and the Ur-Ghuls and whatnot. So in the end, this is what they look like, and as you can see, everything kind of blends together. So it worked out pretty well. If you've liked what you've seen, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, and let's leave you with a little bit of a blooper. This occurred earlier. Thanks for watching. Hello there, and welcome to Normal Guy Games. This time I'm actually going to be forgetting what the project was. What the hell did I paint? Oh, Ur-Ghuls from Blackstone Fortress. Oh my god.